Do you really want to be doing shirt deals, 1 year, 2 year deals? Actually, really and truly, you want to be doing 3, 4, 5 year deals. Build a relationship with a brand, with a credible brand that can actually add a lot of value back to the club, back to the fan base.
To find a non-betting brand that has even 80% of the revenue that you would be getting for a betting company is very, very tough. And I've done Zoopla. I took a betting company off West Brom.
We're starting to see clubs build out more of like an insights team and a partnerships intelligence team. Having that knowledge of brands and new sort of opportunities and new territories and regions is becoming vital for clubs.
Welcome to episode 2 of The Deal Room, then, where we discuss the business behind sport with Sporting Group International and Sporting Jobs. My name's Ed, I'm asking the questions, but as always, the opinion and expert knowledge comes from our panel. So we've got Harry representing Sporting Jobs, we've got Ian and Adrian from Sporting Group International. Now, we should lay our cards on the table for this episode. There's a lot to unpack for this one. It's the betting ban and front of shirt sponsorship. Now, Harry, let's get a little bit of a definition about exactly what we're going to be talking about here.
Yeah, so I think it's common knowledge that the Premier League will be removing gambling sponsors from front of shirts at the start of the 26 and 27 season. Obviously leaves a massive opportunity with maybe moving to sleeves or migrating to sleeves, but I think, is it 13 clubs that would have...
12 clubs have got... Well, there's 13 clubs that are going to be available for next season, 12
Right.
clubs that have currently got betting or gaming brands on the front of their shirt.
Interesting. So, it's very much your domain, in Adrian. So those 13, you mentioned the 13th one, which is Chelsea, who've gone into this season without a shirt sponsorship. Is that quite unusual in the Premier League then? Yeah,
it's very unusual. We were debating what's the impact of them not having a shirt sponsor when they won the Club World Cup. Think about the opportunity to get something in the shop window for people literally to say, okay, they've just acquired Damac. I think went on for a very, very short period of time. Really surprised they didn't transition them into the World Cup, just because of the amount of media coverage that would have come from that. But yeah, it's very rare. I think I remember West Ham many years ago had a brand called Excel. They're a travel company. I think they went bust and they slapped a purple patch over the front of the shirt. But I think it's a really tough thing for a commercial director to be watching games with no front of shirt. It's like literally you kind of trying to think about justifying your existence, really. But I can't talk on behalf of Chelsea. I'm not working for them, but we have spoke to them. We spoke to them very, very early on around their commercial strategy, and they were very, very honest with us. They said, "Look, under the Abramovich era, we didn't have a really, really kind of like what we class as a superpower commercial function. Man United's, the Man Cities, who literally have got 40, 50 sales staff absolutely pelting every territory around the globe to try and find sponsors. Chelsea didn't have that. They're really honest. So they're literally just rebuilding. They're reconnecting with agencies. Who can they trust? Who can't they trust? They've made some big hires. They've booked Casper, Steelsbig, apologies. I was going to say Casper Schmeichel then. He's come from Man United. So, they are trying to put some roots down, but I think they've been really clear around they're not going to do a fire sale on it, which is fair enough. That I applaud them for that. Not having to just knock it out for something, which a lot of clubs probably would. But yeah, going back to a long answer to the question around, is it rare? It's very rare.
So in terms of, put it into perspective for me, kind of the amount of revenue we're talking in terms of, for a club like Chelsea, I guess it depends on the club, of course, but what are we talking about in numbers or percentages of total revenue for a shirt sponsorship?
Yeah, it's very, very club dependent in terms of valuation of obviously front of shirt. It ranges from anything from sort of 5 million per season right up to 50, 60 million per season. You can obviously guess who those clubs are at that top end. But yeah, in terms of the actual values of betting front of shirts at the moment, I think it contributes pretty much a third of the overall front of shirt revenue. Front of shirt revenue across all 20 clubs is just over 400 million. It contributes literally around 150 million of that overall revenue. And bearing in mind that the top 4 clubs, if you equate that as Man City, Liverpool, Man United, none of them have betting brands on the front of their shirts. So that just tells you that. But yeah, it's around a third of the contribution.
It's an interesting one as well, because I guess some of these deals must be multi-year deals as well. So I assume they'll have to end early, some of them will they as well, which is kind of a bit of a blip when you've made those plans?
Probably not. And the reason being is because a lot of the time betting deals tend to be quite short-term deals, 1-2 years. It's not very often they're 2 years plus, if I'm perfectly honest. And also this came into fruition probably 3 or 4 years ago now when they actually announced that they were going to do this. So clubs had plenty of times to plan. The brands had plenty of times to plan as well. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. So they've had plenty of time to prepare and hopefully look for the future and their strategy moving into next season.
Well, that leads on to my next question, really. So if you know a sponsor is leaving and they know this is coming, what's your replacement plan? What are you doing? How are you looking around? Where do you go?
Yeah, well, I think for me, if they're not looking right now and haven't started right now, then they're way behind. I think I personally believe, and I think there will be a lot of lost revenue, obviously, when it comes to gaming on front of brands. But I think this is a real opportunity, if I'm perfectly honest. I think this is an opportunity to be a real shift in the whole movement and when it comes to front of shirt sponsorship. I think commercial directors and their teams and, the people looking after the partnerships are going to have to really think smarter. They're going to have to really think of some real compelling USPs, a real why. How are they different to any other Premier League football club? You're not looking for a few £100,000 here. You're looking for millions, multi-millions of pounds worth of revenue over a longer term period. And there aren't many brands that can just drop that last minute. They need time to plan. They have to plan it in their budgets for the prior year. And also if they do it right and they follow the process correctly, actually, do you really want to be doing shirt deals, 1 year, 2 year deals? Actually, really and truly, you want to be doing 3, 4, 5 year deals. Build a relationship with a brand, with a credible brand that can actually add a lot of value back to the club, back to the fan base, and really align sort of, where they want to do. So actually, I genuinely believe this could be a real movement in a positive way. And you also maintain that betting revenue because, as Harry alluded to, this isn't a government ruling. This is a Premier League ruling, and it's purely on front of shirt. So there are other opportunities with training wear with sleeve, with official partnerships that can be done as well.
We'll talk more about those opportunities in a second. But Adrian, you've done plenty of these kind of deals when you're at West Brom, of course, Blues, but also with Sporting Group. How do these conversations tend to go and where does Sporting Group International come into that equation?
Well, when we first kicked off nearly a decade ago, we made a strategic decision not to go betting. Just because we didn't have a network in it. I took a lot of deals from agents when I worked in clubs. And I thought, what's the likelihood that I'm going to nick a brand from an agent that's been placing their work for the last 5, 6, 10 years? So I just said, look, screw it. We're not going to do betting. We're just going to go for non-betting. And actually, it's the hardest route to take because, no disrespect, I'm going to be controversial here. There will always be a betting company to go on the front of shirt in the Premier League. Categoric, there will always 100%. Be someone. To find a non-betting brand that has even 80% of the revenue that you would be getting from a betting company is very, very tough. And I've done Zoopla. I took a betting company off West Brom. I did QuickBooks. I took another betting company off West Brom front of shirt. So I've done it both ways, and I looked and benefited the clubs that I worked for at the time based on the brands that I thought were available. Naturally, we've all got budgets as commercial directors. There's lots of pressure. We don't want the budgets to go down. They've all got to go up, But sometimes commercial directors just need to put their head above the parapet. And this is going to be a watershed moment for commercial teams because revenue is going to take a dip. I don't care what anybody says. The likelihood that you're going to get the level of revenue as a club that you had with a betting company for a front of shirt is highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. So what do you need to do? You need to be clever around how you distribute your income that is available through other opportunities and other sectors, not giving your training wear away, maybe looking at the way you treat the women's front of shirt. Don't bundle that into the main deal. There's plenty of ways that you can actually, if anything, just level up on your betting money. And I think that would be a good result for clubs.
And also, I totally agree, but I think you can actually be even more clever with that betting revenue because, like we said, front of shirt, you'd normally typically give global exclusivity, to a front of shirt on a betting brand. Now you don't necessarily need to do that. There are so many betting companies out there that are targeting particular territories around the world. You can have a Southeast Asian betting brand, you can have a South African one, a Latin American one, a North American one. So actually, do you know what? You can still, if you're strategic enough, look at, okay, well, how do we really monetize and create the maximum revenue out of this betting opportunity that we've got?
Harry, you kind of alluded to this in episode 1 about, spreading it around different sports and the women's game getting more prominence as a result. Is that something you think is going to happen then?
Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of teams now specifically hire somebody to look after the women's team commercially. And again, if you just look at the numbers and the statistics, year on year, the partner portfolio in women's teams is growing. The revenue and the sort of value associated with that is growing too. So yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot of like women's specific commercial manager of a team. I think the other thing that I would say from a recruitment standpoint is we're starting to see clubs build out more of like an insights team and a partnerships intelligence team. We've done a number of placements in that sort of area, and it's again, and I see it within our SGI team really, it's like having that knowledge of brands and new sort of opportunities and new territories and regions is becoming vital for clubs, because as the guys are alluding to, it's just so competitive and it is so difficult.
It's an interesting one. And you've got quite the inventory as well of sponsorship opportunities. It's not just front of shirt anymore, is it, as well? You've got sleeves and, you guys know better than me, really. There are so many opportunities out there, aren't there, really?
Oh, huge amounts. And it's just growing. Your traditional sponsorship, forms and inventory of 10 years ago are gone. It's totally revolutionised. Now people have got the whole digital age that's growing, the content that you can create through various different ways, digital replacement that's coming into a lot of sports now, where you can showcase different brands in different territories, is just creating more and more inventory. So it's just growing all the time.
It's an interesting one because, I think you've kind of talked a little bit around this already, about clubs trying to preserve and not just go, look, we'll just sell it for whatever. But it does feel like it's a buyer's market. Is that a true reflection? Do you think that it is a buyer's market at the moment for shirt sponsorship?
Yeah, 100%. There will be people that have been tracking the activities around the bands. A lot of people say, well, where's the next sectors? What are they? Are they crypto? Are they renewables? Are they travel? Are they fintech? We speak to brands day in, day out, and they ask us pretty much the same questions. What am I getting for my money? How do I know this is going to work for my brand? And why should I do it? And unless the club have got that answer, why should I do this? It's very difficult. And clubs are kind of cutting themselves out niches around, you've got community clubs, you've got clubs that are literally focusing on just conveyor belting players. You've got Liverpool that have literally put their roots down in the sustainability space, the Red Way. They've got representatives and their management team going out to COP, which is a global summit for countries, and they've got people on panels talking about what they're doing as a football club to benefit their own sustainable footprint, but also their fans' sustainable footprint. So I think there are going to be some new brands that enter this space that people won't even be aware of. It'd be like, oh, I didn't see that one come in. Well, yeah, because there needs to be brands that break in that aren't using this medium as a vehicle at the moment, and there will be, and it's like people like us convincing them to do it.
It's still a massive investment for them. Even if it is a buyer's market. So what kind of proof do they need that this is a worthwhile investment for them?
I think the biggest one is obviously there's two different areas of return on investment. There's tangible and intangible. Your intangible is obviously the value you get through the lens, the media exposure, whether that be through broadcast, radio, press, digital, the club-owned TV channel. That's the biggest one. And if you're not delivering at least sort of 5x, 6x industry standard, so if you're looking to deliver pay 10 million quid for a shirt sponsorship, you're really looking at probably 50, 60 million pounds worth of return on media value. So there's that one. But then, as Adrian's already alluded to, it's kind of like, okay, well, what's the story? How can I really resonate with the fan base? How can I really resonate with the corporate clients, the partners? How can I engage with them? How can I build my network? What is it that you're doing as a football club that really align with our brand values and what we're really trying to achieve as a business? How can that add huge credibility to what we're trying to do? It goes back to that why. You'll hear us mention that a lot through a lot of these episodes, because without the why, there's no sell. So,
and I think a lot of people don't realise as well with these assets is, most big corps have a digital budget line marketing. They have a TV budget line marketing. They might have a radio budget line marketing. A
CSR.
So fundamentally, the one thing about sports sponsorship, it enables you to put all of those together. So you're getting TV media, you're getting digital media, you're getting data, So fundamentally, you literally can litmus test a product through a sports vehicle, literally by giving you all the tools that you might buy independently. And everybody goes, oh God, there's massive figures being spent in terms of front of shirts in the Premier League. But you can have a look at some of the big corps TV spends in terms of advertising spends. They dwarf these levels of investments if they're a big company, as in £1 billion company. So, and also it's about legitimization of brands as well. Sport is a very, very good way of getting trust from fans. And there's a massive amount of work that's been done with clubs and independents to say, if you're associated with a sports club, your brand is more likely to be used by not just sports fans, but people that recognize the brand because of that relationship. You can't get that through TV. You can't get that through digital alone. So the players are the influencers. And I know the players don't do a huge amount for sponsors, but they're still on photo shoots. They're still, Lionel Messi is still wearing the logo of a brand that if he's got 650 million followers on his Instagram page and he puts a post out saying, just had a really difficult training session, and it's got the logo of a brand on the front of it. There you go. That's the level.
Yes, it's an interesting one. And I suppose you kind of go, you mentioned yourself, Adrian, loads of the deals that you've kind of done. Lift the curtain a little bit for us then. How do those conversations kind of start and how do they then develop into actually signing that deal?
I think there's probably 2 or 3 ways that they can come about. They could come from an agent, as in an agency. They're a PR company that literally has been given the responsibility to create the brand from standing start. There's a lot of trust there. There's a lot of money that's been spent on the marketing and the development of a new up-and-coming brand, that is, like challenger brand. So naturally, someone's weight in that boardroom around, well, I think you should have a look at football or cricket or rugby, and here's the reasons why. You may then get an agency come to a company like us and say, look, we've got a brand. They're in America at the moment. They want to break the UK and they're looking at maybe doing something in sport. Can you help? And we'd give them a suite of things that hit their sweet spot. Then you've got companies like us that literally are every day speaking to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of brands around the world that literally are showing interest in this space. They're either done it already at low level, mid level, or they're at top level and they're looking at diversing their portfolios. Where we would say, oh, actually, are you aware this is available? And then we bring them the opportunity and say, yeah, we'll have some more information. Or the brand goes directly to the club. Literally, they've said, we want to do Chelsea. My chief exec's a massive Chelsea fan. He's got £10 million burning a hole in his pocket for our marketing spend, and he wants to go and give it to Chelsea. Well, great. That's how these deals can come. Ian and I have both been recipient of the fanatical chief executive that literally upstands all of his marketing team. He says, no, we're doing Chelsea because I'm a big fan and I think it's good value for money. Great. It's not great for us, but those deals are out there, believe it or not.
I'm guessing it's probably not a quick process. I mean, it's not one of those, right, we've spoken to them on Monday, we signed it on Friday.
They're very few and far between, that's for sure. They do happen. We've had deals that, and they're probably the heartstring pulls that Adrian's probably alluded to. Obviously, owner's a fan, just wants to do a deal, doesn't matter what it looks like, just want to go for that. But, your real true, okay, what am I going to get? How am I going to get a return on my investment? It's a long process, especially for a Premier League front of shirt, which is obviously the topic of the discussion today. 12, 18 months, possibly even longer. You're starting, build that relationship, go on the journey, introduce people to key parts of each of the businesses, get under the bonnet of the business. What is it you're really looking to achieve? And that takes time. It takes, and then you've got to, you want to obviously sign, ideally, a deal well in advance of it actually kicking off, because you need to plan, you need to prepare, you need to, pull together the whole marketing plan and strategy of what you're looking to achieve and delivering that. So it takes a long time. But, there's a process and you've got to be patient in this game and you'll get the rewards off the back of it.
Just one I had. Obviously, we operate globally within our group and we've got people in India and Italy, Spain. We've seen sometimes now that some companies have gone with surrogates. So that's where maybe a betting company have become a batting company and they give cricket news in India whereby they're Bat 365 or something like that. Do you see, that happening in the Prem, and do you think the Prem would allow it?
Well, we've done quite a lot in the surrogate space. Obviously, Adrian's built an operation in India. We've got a fantastic team out there, deal with the ISL, the IPL, etc., etc. So we've had experience of doing deals out there. Daffa News being one of them. We've done several deals with a club called Hyderabad previously, Mumbai City, part of this, the CFG group, and that's been replicated across various territories: Belgium, Italy. You got Bets and Sport, so Surrogate, which basically means a sports blog, sports entertainment blog, and we've had these conversations actually with Premier League clubs, and I think it's a very, very grey area at the moment. There's no cut and dry, no, you can't do it. So actually that tells me that there is a big possibility. It's just, I think it's probably which club is prepared to take the leap of faith and which brand is prepared to take the leap of faith to go, actually, do you know what? There's nothing here in black and white that says I can't do this, and that's what I'm going to do. So, but we are having those conversations, and there is a possibility, but not a definitive answer on that one.
And the Premier League are aware of it. I've read stories that they're keeping a close eye on it.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting one. Coming back to the hiring side as well, Harry, you mentioned about how quite often they're now splitting those commercial director roles because there's more opportunity with the women's side of the game as well. Is that something you think's going to become more prevalent, especially with the betting ban?
I would say so, yeah. I think another area that we're finding, if I take a lot of the US-owned clubs now, of which there's many, you're seeing clubs like Swansea. They've got somebody that actually, Kelly, she's brilliant. She's a commercial sort of person within their team that operates from America. So again, looking to kind of garner partnerships and commercial deals in the States for Swansea, although they're based in Wales, if that makes sense. So I think that will happen a lot, and we've got loads of clubs like that. Birmingham on our doorstep with their success that they've just had from the documentary, for example. Surely there's going to be Birmingham City partnerships in the States that can come off the back of that, and eventually that might mean to sort of national commercial teams as well, I think.
That's an interesting one. I mean, you've all alluded to it, that it is a global game now, and actually territories could play a bigger part, perhaps.
Yeah, I say it quite a lot. A lot of these clubs now, the football's kind of secondary. They're more or less like media companies, content creators. That's what they do, and they bring in these big celebrities now. You're seeing it all the time. How many celebrities now we've got involved in football clubs? You've had the Snoop Dogs of the world come in recently, Claudia Schiffers, obviously Tom Brady with my beloved Birmingham City, and many, many more as well. And it's all about revenues for these football clubs. Revenue. They need various different ways to drive global revenue and get their brand out there as quickly and as fast as possible, because that's going to bring in more revenue to the football club, which also means then you can invest into the football squad, which then means you can perform better on the pitch, which means then actually, we can either maintain our Premier League status or get there as quickly as possible, which is the holy grail for a lot of these owners. And and they know that actually if they're going to sell more shirts, get more eyeballs on their club, they've got to create more content. So from Harry's perspective, you've seen a lot of digital creators, content creators, more marketing, bigger marketing departments in football clubs, aren't you, from that perspective? Mm.
Interesting one. Well, we'll leave it there for now, but we are going to finish like we did last time. We talked about who we thought was going to win the Premier League, and I think Arsenal and Liverpool were the firm favourites. This time I thought we should finish off a huge debate, the greatest Premier League goalkeeper of all time. We'll do the whole winner stays on. Harry, I'm going to start with you. A couple of big names to pick from here. Peter Schmeichel or Petr Cech? Which are you going for?
Oh, that's really difficult. Maybe I'll start with Petr Cech then. Right. I think he was just like a good balance in terms of playing out. He could play a bit more than Peter Schmeichel. It's famous that he couldn't really kick a ball, could he? And he got the sort of back pass rule changed, didn't he? So I'll go for Petr Cech.
Wow, Schmeichel out very early doors. Okay, so Petr Cech take on David De Gea.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'll stick with Harry for this one because I'm going to come. I've got a couple of choices for you, Ian.
Oh, okay.
Next,
Go on.
That's all right. No, you worry.
I'll stick with Petr Cech.
Still okay. Joe Hart, Petr Cech.
Petr Cech.
Still going to be okay. Ian, this is your moment, right? Petr Cech or Edwin van der Sar?
My favourite ever is Peter Schmeichel, just to put it out there, because I used to have the Peter Schmeichel haircut. The spiky one. Yeah.
Did you have the goalie top as well?
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. Okay. With the big pads on the shoulders. I'm going to say Edwin van der Sar.
Van der Sar versus Alisson Becker.
Van der Sar.
Van der Sar or Shay Given?
Van der Sar.
Easy choice there. Okay, Adrian, final few for you then. So Van der Sar very much taking it at the moment, or Jordan Pickford?
Oh, Van der Sar.
Or Hugo Lloris?
Van der Sar.
Van der Sar still in it. Okay, Van der Sar take on David Seaman. Who wins it?
David Seaman.
Ooh.
Oh, Ian's in there. Okay, Adrian.
Yeah, I would say David Seaman.
David Seaman. Are we taking that then? Are there any honourable mentions we've missed out here?
Edison for me. From Man
Edison.
City. These pair are showing their age.
Mark Bosnich.
My pick of all time would be David Seaman.
David Seaman.
Ex-Birmingham, started his career at Birmingham City, So there's that one.
Got to start somewhere.
Part of the Invincibles team, so he's, David Seaman.
So we're happy with that. David Seaman wins it. Yeah?
Okay, yeah.
We'll go with it.
Harry's clearly not too happy,
reluctantly,
but...
I think. Yeah, twisting Harry's arm there a little bit. Well, that's a nice place to leave it, I think, very much. We'll catch up again in episode 3 for another big topic that we'll talk about. But if you've got any questions at all for the guys with a vast knowledge of the business behind sport, or you just want to connect with them, LinkedIn's the best place. So do search Sporting Jobs or Sporting Group International, and we'll catch you again soon.